Helmholtz and I were sitting down reading our letters when we saw this one from Kevin from Virginia, who said, what are the test tracks you use to test the audio equipment? Now, we use hundreds and hundreds of different test tracks, mostly classical, organ, and chant. But there are three that everyone should have in their repertoire. And after this short, brief introduction, I will tell you what those are. Now, before Helmholtz and I get into the details of each of these tracks, please be aware you can't just listen to tracks. Anyone can recommend good tracks for listening to audio equipment. You can't just start listening. You have to know what you're listening for. You need to listen to the same tracks over and over again. I never understand some of these reviewers who tell you 16 different pieces of music they listen to while they're testing this speaker, and then 16 completely different tracks of music they're listening to another speaker when they're doing a review. It's very important to listen to the same tracks over and over again. It's why I do over 600 hours of listening to every component. I need to hear every track over and over again, the same tracks I've listened to in the past. Now, what are the three tracks you must have in your repertoire? Okay, this first track comes with a disclaimer because it is a terrible rendition of this song, but an amazingly good test track. Hilary Hahn's Violin Concerto No. 2 in E major. Yes, Bach aficionados were upset after this was released because Hilary, I Can Play It Faster Than You, Hahn, just literally destroyed everything Bach had done in this piece. But as a test track, it is phenomenal because she is playing it way too fast and it makes it difficult for your system to keep up. The transient responses have to be stunningly good. You deal with sibilance, oh my God, that is where this comes in big time. You're talking about a test track that literally takes your entire system and pushes it. I recommend listening to this track loud. This really pushes your system to levels that it's probably never experienced before. So, yes, the song is ruined. But for testing purposes, you have to have this track in your repertoire. Our second track comes from the Monks of Monte Cristo. Now, this next track will really push your system to a level you've probably never experienced before. It's called The Silence of Solitude. And this entire album, 75 minutes, one track, was taken during the monks' monastic silence, what you would call a vow of silence. This track has a noise floor of negative 20 dB, and it should never get above that except at 37 minutes and 12 seconds when you can hear monk number 3 sighing just a little bit, and then at 47 minutes and 12 seconds, you should be able to pick up a slight heavy breathing from monk number 4. That in itself makes this track just absolutely fantastic. 75 minutes, and you are testing the noise floor of your system. If you hear anything, and this is why I recommend getting this CD, getting this Super Audio CD, getting this vinyl, and getting it downloaded through digital so you can test out your CD player, SACD player, DAC, and turntable. And of course, with a turntable, we're talking about your cartridge, your tone arm, your motor. If you hear anything on this track, except for those two pieces I just told you about, then your system's at fault. Stunning, and I listen to it regularly. Some of you will have issue with the great Diane Bish because she plays organ, which is the greatest music in the world you can possibly listen to. It's got a range like no other instrument, but because organs are in cathedrals, we get it. Some people decide that they don't like religious music and they won't listen to it. So you're going to have to just put your big boy pants on and move on from that because this next track, Diane Bish, Going down and staying down until you scream the name of the Lord is literally the greatest subwoofer test track in all of history. Diane starts this track around 500 hertz and starts working her way down. When she gets below 100 hertz, she never comes back up. You can hear her going down on those pipes. It is phenomenal. And you better have subwoofers that can handle this, because I don't think one subwoofer could possibly handle this. She gets down to 20 hertz and gets to 80 hertz literally for the rest of the track. And your subwoofers might just break before this song climaxes. So be aware, this is a serious test. Cheap systems shouldn't even be involved, because you can actually blow your subs, and that's going to suck for you. So if you have a good system, and if you really, really want to test it, you got to get this track from Diane Bish, because it's like ecstasy over and over and over again. So thank you for watching this edition of the Scientific Audiophile. Like, subscribe, and turn on alerts so you know when our next important audiophile video is released.